Welcome back to Teshkid FX for another price prediction update, and in this video I'll be giving you a price prediction update on Vechain, whose current price stands at the $0.01948 mark, and here on TradingView the market is down by 3.09%. And in this video I want to give you the key scenarios that I expect to play out, basing my analysis on the Elliot wave structures, the Fibonacci's, the key areas of support and resistances, and also draw out any key chart pattern that you have information on this chart. And I'll kickstart the video by giving a brief of what has been happening on this chart. Vechain from the all-time high has been seeing no prices in this massive ABC corrective movement, which has now taken us back to around the $0.18 mark. And starting my analysis here on the daily chart, you can see after making our low at around the $0.02 mark, we saw a very nice bounce to the upper side, managing to break above key areas of resistances. But at the key area of resistance at around the $0.03362 mark, we got rejected, and we have been seeing a massive pullback to the lower side. And here on the daily chart you can see that we are trading below the 20-day MA, meaning it's acting as resistance here on the daily chart. If I jump to the forward chart for further analysis, here on the forward chart you can see after making our low down there at around the $0.02 mark, we saw a very nice bounce to the upper side, which I'm terming as an ABC corrective movement that was correcting that massive ABC corrective movement that gave us a low at around the $0.02 mark. And after seeing an ABC corrective movement, whatever I expected on this other side was a 5-wave structure to the lower side, and I expected lower lows to play out here on this chart, and that has played out because you can see we have made a new low at around the $0.018 mark. And in that movement we have been trading within this Elliot wave structure, having this as a first wave to the upper side, to the lower side, then a second wave, a wave 3, wave 4, and then a wave 5. And having seen that 5-wave structure to the lower side, we can now name that as a higher Elliot wave count 1 to the lower side. And having seen the formation of a higher Elliot wave count 1, I also expected to see a higher Elliot wave count 2 also play out on this chart. And to get a minimum retracement area in the formation of a higher Elliot wave count 2, I used the Fibonacci's, connecting them from the high of that first wave to the low of that first wave, and that gave me a minimum retracement area between the fib level 0.5 and the fib level 0.618, which perfectly lies between the $0.027 mark and the $0.028 mark, which is within this red target area that I have right here. And you can see the price of Vechain retraced into that target area, making its peak at around the $0.28 mark. And that movement to the upper side was also backed up by chart patterns that were giving us a breakout to the upper side, like this inverse head and shoulders pattern, giving us a minimum target area back to around the $0.025 mark. And you can see we saw that breakout to the upper side and got into our target area in the formation of a higher Elliot wave count 2. And whatever we have been seeing over here in this movement right here, this is what I'm terming as a higher Elliot wave count 3 to the lower side. And there are two possibilities that can play out over here. There's a possibility that maybe we have seen the low for that wave 3 to the lower side, because if I use the trend based Fibonacci, connecting it from the high of that first wave, to the low of that first wave, then dragging the fibs to the high of that wave 2, that gives me a minimum retracement area in the formation of that higher Elliot wave count 3, using the fib ratios 1:1 fib ratios back to around the $0.015 mark. And you can see in that retracement we made our low at around the $0.018 mark, meaning we did not fully maximize that target area in the formation of that higher Elliot wave count 3 to the lower side. And there is a possibility that we might continue pushing lower in the formation of that higher Elliot wave count 3. So there is that first possibility of us going back to around the $0.015 mark, so that we can make that low in the formation of that higher Elliot wave count 3, and then expect a bit of a bounce to the upper side in the formation of a higher Elliot wave count 4 before we finish off and make a new low in the formation of a higher Elliot wave count 5 to the lower side. So that is the first possibility that I'm expecting to play out here on this chart. The other possibility is that maybe the low was in at around the $0.1518 mark, and that's why we saw this a bit of a bounce to the upper side in what we can term as a higher Elliot wave count 4. But using the Fibonacci's, connecting them from the high of that wave 3 to the low of that wave 3 to get a minimum retracement area to the upper side in the formation of that higher Elliott wave count 4 between the fib level 0.618 and the fib level 0.5, you can see that retracement over here did not make it to that target area, meaning we cannot term that movement to the upper side as a valid wave 4, and there are high chances that we are going to continue pushing lower, make a new low in the formation of that high Elliott wave count 3 using the fib ratios 1:1 fib ratios, then expect a bounce to the upper side in the formation of our wave 4 before we continue pushing higher in the lower in the formation of a higher Elliott wave count 5, and that means lower prices are coming our way here on the Vechain chart. And in that movement to the lower side, we can also see a chart pattern that might give us a bounce to the upper side in what we are terming here as a wave 4, assuming the low was in at around the $0.15 mark. And in case we get back to around the $0.18 mark, here we'll be forming a double bottom, having that as the first bottom, then this is the neckline, then this movement might form the second bottom. Then in case we continue pushing higher, there is a possibility of us breaking out of that chart pattern, having the target area of the breakout as the height between the neckline and the bottoms. So using a trend line, we can get that height and place it above the neckline to give us a minimum target area back to around the $0.025 mark. So in case that plays out here on the Vechain chart, then we fully maximize the formation of a higher Elliott wave count 4 before we continue pushing lower in the formation of that wave 5 to the lower side. There's a possibility that in case that plays out, we can now start sketching out more bullish movements here on the Vechain chart. Also taking a look at the indicators to see what movements will be supported. Here on the RSI, we are trading at around the 34 mark, meaning we have massive room for us to support any movements to the upper side, and also any movements to the lower side will still be supported before we get into the oversold region. Also taking a look at the MACD, on the MACD you have printed a bearish cross, and that means lower prices are coming our way. And you can also see we are losing the buying momentum here on the MACD, meaning a bearish cross has been printed. And that's all for this video.